your host and commentator for Outside Edition. Our investigative reporters bring you the outside dirt on the inside story with all the smut and scandal to satisfy even the most inquiring minds. Today we take you live into the most sensational trial of the century, where you become the jury in the case of the County of La La Land versus Percival S. Wolf. What you're about to see is real. The litigants in this case are not actors. They have agreed for a six-figure price to settle their dispute here in our studio courtroom. But before we begin, a word from our sponsor.
Have you ever thought about the B word? Do you have the worst breath in all of La La Land?
Hi, guys!
Do you have dragon breath?
What's the matter?
Does your breath knock the butters off a man your wagon?
Was it something I said?
If you have breath that only children appreciate, then you need Breathbuster. Yes, Breathbuster. It will bust your breath, sparing friends to agony, and improving your social life. Only $150 for large economy size.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Herwalda Camara, your host and commentator for Outside Edition. Our investigative reporters bring you the outside dirt on the inside story with all the smut and scandal to satisfy even the most inquiring minds. Today we take you live into the most sensational trial of the century, where you become the jury in the case of the County of La La Land versus Percival S. Wolf. What you're about to see is real. The litigants in this case are not actors. They have agreed for a six-figure price to settle their dispute here in our studio courtroom. But before we begin, a word from our sponsor. And now, Mr. Wolf has just arrived with his attorney. As you know, he stands accused of the attempted murder and the malicious wounding of Humpty R. Dumpty on July 22nd. He is represented by his cousin Benny, that is, Benny Padlock of Padlock and P. Associates. And now, Humpty Dumpty has just arrived with Mary Payson, the toughest prosecutor in La La Land. As you can see, she looks as if she's barely able to hold herself together. Let us watch as the trial commences.
All rise! The Honorable Betty Bachner presiding. Here comes the judge! Bachner! 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 Bachner!
You may be seated. This is the case of the County of La La Land versus Percival S. Wolf. Mr. Wolf stands accused of attempting to murder Miss Dumpty by pushing her off the high wall surrounding the giant's castle. Mr. Padlock, how does your client plead?
Innocent, Your Honor.
Miss Payson, as prosecutor for this case, you may begin with your opening statement.
Your Honor, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I beg you to look at my client. Imagine how she feels. She was minding her own business, sitting upon the wall, when suddenly she was pushed behind and took a terrible fall. Think of how she panicked with terror as she fell. She knew she was going to be cracked and scrambled. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I intend to prove that the wolf did indeed plan his attack. He premeditated, postulated, cogitated, contemplated how to kill and make Hump crack. And in conclusion, I will show that he has not only the means, but the motive to carry out this horrendous crime.
Thank you.
And furthermore,
You know the rules, Miss Payson. Once you sit down, you can't stand back up again until it's your turn. Now then, Mr. Padlock, are you ready with your opening remarks?
1 second, Judge. I know it's here somewhere.
Mr. Padlock, we're waiting. May I remind you that time is money? And the plaintiff and defendant are costing this network big buckaroos as it is.
Here it is. I'm ready now.
Well then proceed.
Guys and doubles of the jury, I am to show you that my cousin here, Boise Wolf, is innocent of the perpetration of this crime.
That's it? That's all you have to say? Suit yourself. Miss Payson, you may call your first witness.
Your Honor, I call Miss Dorky Pig to the stand. Raise your right events of July 22nd as you remember them?
Have you ever thought about the B word? Do you have the worst breath in all of La La Land? Hi, guys! Do you have dragon breath? What's the matter? Does your breath knock the butters off the man you're wagon? Was it something I said? If you have breath that only children appreciate, then you need Breath Buster. Yes, Breath Buster. It will bust your breath, sparing friends to agony, and improving your social life. Only $150 for large economy size. I woke up at about 6 o'clock in the morning. I got out of bed and crossed to the restroom.
Yeah, let's cut to the quick, so to speak. Oh, where were you at approximately 12 noon on the day in question?
It was a sizzling hot day, and I was in a hurry to get over to my brother's house before the sun fried my bacon.
And why, pray tell, were you visiting your brother?
Ever since my house was destroyed, I've been living at the YPCA. I don't have the money to build a new one. Since the food at the Y is a little lousy, I eat lunch over at my brother's Alvarez every day.
You say your house was destroyed. Just when did this happen?
About 10 years ago, this creepy critter came to my door and said he was selling aluminum siding. He said my straw house could use it. I said I wasn't interested. So he tried to sweet talk me, inviting me out for lunch. Said he'd love to have pork chops for lunch. I refused. He huffed and puffed and blew my whole house to kingdom come.
And is this salesman in this courtroom now?
I think that's him.
Object, this is irrelevant. She's not talking about today's case, and how can she even be sure? This is the same wolf after 10 years.
Your Honor, I'm merely trying to establish the most bad reputation and prior record. It would have a bearing on this case.
Objection overruled. Proceed, Miss Payson.
Thank you. Now, Miss Pig, would you describe what happened to you on the way to your brother's house?
I was walking along Wall Street, past a giant's castle, where that huge pear tree grows. When out of the blue, something hit me from above. It felt like an elephant sat on my head, and then it knocked me right out.
When you came to, what did you see?
Yo!
I beg your pardon.
Yo! It was this yucky, wiggly stuff that was soft boiled. It was in my hair, my eyes, my clothes. Yuck. Disgusting. And my head hurt so bad. I must have been out for quite a while.
Then what?
I saw a donkey scrambled all over the place. There was a huge crowd around her. And nobody noticed me.
Who was in this crowd?
I saw some of the king's men. They were administering first aid to Dumpty and trying to put her back together again. Then I saw the fairy godmother who was waving her wand like crazy and muttering to herself. And the goose. And oh yes, the wolf was lurking around the pear tree.
I finished questioning the Dorca Pig. Let the record show that the wolf was at the scene of the crime at the time of the fall. Your witness?
So, Doc, how are you?
Okay, I guess.
You said when you sat up after your accident, your head hurt and you were covered in yolk. Is that right?
Yes.
Would you describe to me what the king's men were wearing?
Yellow and white. Your uniforms were yellow and white.
And the goose?
The same. Yellow and white.
And the fairy godmother?
Oh, I also yellow and white.
And the accused who you claim was lurking around the pear tree?
I'm not sure.
Oh, come on, Doc. Did you see him or didn't you?
Thought I did.
And surely you can identify the color he was wearing.
Yellow and white.
Judge, the 3 witnesses in question are here today. I've asked them to wear the 26. I'd like them to stand for a minute.
You may stand.
Doc, you've testified that when you came to, you were covered in yellow. Could it be that the reason they were all wearing yellow and white was because you had an egg in your face and you cannot see, in fact, much at all? Judge, if this Dork guy, Pig, couldn't see clearly, how could he identify my cousin or anyone else at the scene? She clearly had an egg in her face then, and she has an egg in her face now.
Point well taken.
I got no further questions.
You may be seated, Miss Pig.
Yeah, take a hike, you dog.
Next witness.
Your Honor, I call Sir Woody Soldier of the King's Bench. he and some of the men were practicing drills near the vicinity of the wall at the time of the fall.
Raise your right hand! Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
State your full name!
Woodrow Soldier.
I can't hear you!
Woodrow Soldier. Sir.
Take your seat, Captain!
Sir. Yes, sir. Captain. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
You have sworn to tell the truth! Yes, I've sworn to tell the truth! When did your man get to the wall? Just in time to see her fall. Did she land on the pig's head? Yes, it was as the pig said. What then? The egg broke, describe the scene. Lots of yolk, then you tried to put her back together again. Your Honor, Jeremy, and the rest, this man surely the king's best. Slowly marched into the fray, tried to help home that sad day. What then? The egg broke, describe the scene. Lots of yolk, then he tried to put her back together again.
You may all be seated.
Yes, ma'am.
Captain, you tried valiantly to put Humpty back together, but what happens?
I don't know, ma'am. First I tried to apply first aid, but her shell just wouldn't hold. So I summoned the fairy godmother. She has experience with pumpkins and mice and clothes. I thought she could help.
Did you notice anything out of the ordinary, besides the victim, that is?
Yes, ma'am. There was a stick lying near the egg. First I didn't notice it because of all the commotion.
Is this the stick you saw?
Looks like it. I'd say it is.
What do you see on the end here?
It looks like dried yolk.
Captain, in your opinion, could this stick have been used to push Humpty off the wall?
Certainly couldn't reach that high.
Your Honor, I do believe you having the lab dust this stick for paw prints. They match those of the accused. I submit this stick as evidence. It can have possibly been used in the perpetration of this crime.
Mark this Exhibit A, and let the record show identification of the wolf's prints on the stick.
Captain, you recently received a Medal of Honor, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Would you tell us what it was for?
About a year ago, the king's new wife, a vain, evil woman, asked me to kill her stepdaughter and cut out her heart so that she could be the fairest in La La Land. I knew this was wrong and immoral, so I let the girl go in the woods and brought the queen an animal's heart instead. When the king found out that his daughter was alive and well and living with the dwarves, he was thankful for what I had done.
So you were given this commendation in recognition of your honesty and integrity?
Yes, ma'am.
Object. This man's achievement has nothing to do with today's trial.
Your Honor, I'm really trying to establish this soldier's honesty and truthfulness.
Sustained. The soldier has already sworn in. We can and should assume that everything he says is true. Now get on with it.
After the fairy godmother arrived, what did you do?
We went in pursuit of the suspect, ma'am. He was seen running away from the scene of the crime.
And you recognized him?
Yes, ma'am. I've been his arresting officer before.
Would you explain?
About a year ago, he was arrested and convicted of vandalism, theft, accosting young girls, and stealing their baskets of goodies. Knowing his reputation, I figured he was up to no good. Besides, he looked guilty the way he was slinking away from the scene of the crime.
Object. You can't convict someone because they look guilty.
Sustained. You can ignore that last statement.
Continue, Captain.
We caught up with him at Peep Sheep Ranch. He was loitering around some little lambs. While Bo and her sister Mary distracted him, we snuck up behind him, cuffed him, read him his rights, brought him down to the dungeon, and booked him.
Thank you, Captain. I have no further questions, Your Honor.
Mr. Padlock, would you like to cross-examine the witness?
No, you can go to the next one.
Why, thank you for your permission, Mr. Padlock. Next witness?
Your Honor, I call the fairy godmother to the stand.
Your name, ma'am?
Wanda Wendy Godmother, dear weary.
You
Oh, yes. I tell everything, dear weary.
Wanda. Wanda! Wanda! Wanda!
What?
You were summoned by Sir Woody Soldier of the King's Men, is that correct?
Oh, yes. He's one hunk of a military might. Don't you think? Hi, honey.
When you arrived at the wall, what did you do?
Well, first, I turned on some tunes. I can't work without my music, you know. Then, I got my wand, turned up the volume, and got straight to work. She was a real mess. She must have been pushed hard to be scrambled like that.
Object, the witness is speculating.
Sustained. Just answer the question, ma'am.
Okay, it was hot out and she was starting to fry. So I set to work.
What exactly did you do?
Well, first, I got out my best magical spell, one handed down from my great godmother. Alakazam, Alakazee! Come back together, 1, 2, 3!
And did that work?
No. So I tried one I got from my cousin Glinda, who got it from some wizard in Emerald City. Give me an H. Give me an H! A! E! L! What does it spell? Heal! No. Heal. The spell spells heal. Now what does it spell? Heal! Now you've got it.
And did that work?
No. So I tried one, so I got out my potion, the good stuff, I got from my Aunt Dinky Bell. And I began to say the most magical of all spells.
What exactly were those words?
Do-do-do-do-wah. Wah! Say a flaky too-wah. I'm gonna prove to you wah. I'm just a diddly-do-wah. Do-do-do-do-do. I changed mice into horses and straw into gold, pumpkins and coaches and young into old. Do-do-do-do-do. Yes, your life is in shambles, you've fallen apart. Wave my wand and I'll start your heart. Do-do-do-do-do. Yes, I changed queens into witches and puppets to boys, toads into princes and sadness to joy. Do-do-do-do.
Wanda, calm down now.
Stay seated, will you? Now, after your wah-wah thing, did that work?
No. I must be losing my touch. So then I saw Doc Little and Sneezy on top of the wall on their way to the gold mine. They were carrying their hose and singing as they called for him to help. He couldn't help her, no one could. He took over after that.
One final question, Wanda. Did you notice the wolf among those at the scene of the fall?
I saw him running past me as I approached the king's men.
Object, she's not answering the question.
Sustained. The question was if you actually saw the wolf at the wall.
Let me think. Yes. No. Yes. No. Maybe?
I'm done with the witness. She's obviously a disparate and nothing she says is reliable.
Why you mean?
She then attacked him in rage. We will be right back after this brief recess.
Honey, where are you, honey?
Did you reindeer?
I got a cold in my nose. I got a cold in my nose.
Did you say something, Sugar Buns?
I got a cold in my nose. I tried everything. Aspirin, fruit juice, steam, hot tea. I can't breathe.
I know what you need. Be right back, Cupcake. Yeah! It's one of those new uncloggers from Nose the Rooter.
Yes, if you have a bad cold, take the plunge. Get the unclogger, the cold remedy recommended by a few physicians. Only $150 at your local mucus mart. Girls,
us. It's so chic and it's the latest style. It's sure to attract the prince's eye. It makes me feel so beautiful. And it's only $150. And now the best in sleepwear.
I love my new nightgown. Makes me want to sleep for 100 years. And it was only $150.
And the most fashionable in workwear. This new apron is so comfortable and functional, it makes me want to whistle while I work. Cleaning for doors becomes a simple pleasure rather than a chore, and it was only $150. Even I'm curious in which wear.
My new dress is so uninteresting. It makes me feel bored and wicked. And it even comes with this nice sun hat. It was only $150.
That's Clothes R Us, La La Land's most outrageous fashion outlet. I like my ball gown.
I like my hat.
I like my apron.
My nightgown beats the Clothes are us. Clothes are us. Where fashion is fashion and we always
Make a fuss.
Ladies and gentlemen, the brief recess has just ended, and Judge Botner is about to continue the witnesses for prosecution. Mr. Penny has just taken his seat.
all rise.
You may be seated. Before we begin, Mr. Paddock, may I remind you that if you make one more snide comment, I will hold you in contempt and fine you $1,000. Do you understand?
Yeah, I get it.
Miss Mason, do you have any more witnesses?
Yes, ma'am. I'd like to call the plaintiff, Miss Humpty R. Dumpty, to the stand.
The victim is being assisted to the stand. As you can see, she has not fully recovered from her extensive injuries.
Raise your right hand. Raise your right leg then. Do you swear to tell the truth, the hard-boiled truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
State your full name for the record, please.
Humpty R. Dumpty.
Miss Dumpty, we need your full name for the record.
Do I have to, Judge?
I'm afraid so.
Well, my full name is Humpty Rump Dumpty.
Miss Dumpty, please tell the court a little about yourself.
I'm just a lonely egg, guys. Nobody cares that I cry. I sit on my wall and try not to fall as I watch the world pass by. All the other eggs in the nest kicked me out in the cold. They said I'm not cool, that I'm only a fool. They're better than me because they're gold. I like to wish and I like to dream. I like to pretend that I'm queen and people bow down when I wear my crown. But never again shall I sing.
There, Miss Dumpty. You say you're kicked out of the nest at an early age. Who took care of you?
Mother Goose. She's really the only mother I ever knew.
And you never knew any of your brothers and sisters?
Of all the eggs, Benedict, the oldest, is the only one I remember. And he wasn't very nice to me. Like I said, it was a long time ago, and I was very young.
Now then, Miss Dumpty, would you recount for us in your own words the events of July 22nd as you remember it?
At about noon, I was sitting in my usual place on the wall surrounding the giant castle.
Excuse me, Miss D, but would you tell us why you'd want to sit on a wall in the hot sun?
I do it for relaxation and to be alone. I can catch a few rays, get a tear, and I also read a lot, especially my calculus, organic chemistry, trigonometry, and advanced industrial technologies. I can see all sorts of things from the top of the wall. It's fun to watch the world go by. Besides, no one ever bothered me up there. Till now.
You say you like to be alone. Why is that?
When I was just a young egglet, all the other kids would make fun of me. They tease me about my size, my weight, even the books I read. They say I was nothing but an egghead. When I have a birthday party, no one would come. When I was a teenager, it was worse. I tried really hard to fit in, but no one wanted to be my friend. The girls would talk about me behind my shell, and the guys would play jokes on me.
Did the accused ever torment you?
Oh, yes. I remember one time, Percival, Benedict and Briar Fox snuck up behind me in geometry class and stuck a sign on the back of my shell that said, "Beat me." They were shoving and pushing me the whole day, and I didn't know why. Another time in gym class, they smeared baking grease all over my sneakers. I was slipping and sliding all over the gym floor. I think they were trying to make me fall and break, but even though I was boiling inside, I refused to crack. I just tried to ignore them.
There. But why do you think Percival and the others would try to torment you so?
They did it just to be mean.
Your Honor, let the record show that the wolf has a history of tormenting this egg for no reason other to be mean. He, therefore, could have pushed her off the wall, also for no reason. I'm finished answering Miss Dumpty.
Proceed, Mr. Padlock.
Dumpty, you've told the court that growing up you had no brothers and sisters,
Yes,
but you do know who they were. You mentioned your brother Benedict,
yes,
and you knew Benedict and the others were actually Bo and Gold.
yes,
Do you know who your real mother was?
yes,
Was it Chicken Little,
no,
the ugly duckling? And
no.
who was your real mother?
Do I have to? Goldie. Goldie the giant goose. But I never really knew her, and like I said, I was raised by Mother Goose.
I got no further questions.
You may be seated, Miss Dumpty. Miss Prosecutor, do you have any other witnesses?
No, ma'am.
The defense may call his first witness.
I call Sneezy Little to the stand.
Raise your right hand. Gesundheit.
Sorry, I have terrible allergies. Doc has me on medication, but it doesn't help much. I've tried steaming my nose, but that doesn't help either.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
State your full name for the record, please.
Sneezy Little.
Now, according to that, Dib's brain wanders. You were walking along top of the wall.
Yes, me and my brother Doc were on our way to work at the Family Mine. We walk on the wall to avoid the crowded sheets below. Tall people can be quite rude, you know. And besides, it's fun to look down on people rather than up ask anymore.
But when you got to the scene, what did you see?
Sorry. By the time we got to the wall, there was a huge crowd had gathered. I saw the pig goose, and the pig was near the pear tree holding his head. I saw the king's men standing guard nearby.
Was that all?
Oh, no. A lot of spectators had gathered, and there were 12 maids dancing with the fairy godmother, 4 birds were calling, and 3 French hens were fighting 2 turtle doves, and in the middle of all that racket, there was a partridge squawking in a pear tree. It was a real circus.
And did you see my cousin, the accused, loitering around the victim of the pear tree?
There were so many people around and so much noise. He could have been in the crowd, but I didn't see him.
And when you were walking along top of the wall, you could see both sides, front and back.
Yes, we had a clear view of both sides for at least half a mile.
And at any time, did you see the defendant behind the wall?
No, I can't say that I did.
I got one more question for you. You showed the court that you have one powerful sneeze deck, powerful enough to blow me halfway across the room, right?
Yeah, sorry about that. One time at the mine, one of my sneezes caused a cave-in. Luckily, no one was hurt, but Drunky stayed mad at me for a year.
I want you to think carefully, sneezing. Were you sneezing on the day in question while you were walking along top of the wall?
I object. Really, Your Honor, isn't this a bit far-fetched?
Overruled. The dwarf has demonstrated the force behind his sneezes. It could be possible. You may answer the question.
I guess it could happen, but I don't know for sure.
I got no further questions.
You may be seated, Mr. Sneezy. Next witness.
I call Sneezy's brother, Dr. Little, to the stand.
Raise your right hand. Do you?
I do.
Up.
Pardon me, Doc, but I've got this pain.
Take 2 aspirin, make appointment in the morning.
Waiting. Oh, right. Your name?
Dr. J. Little.
So, what's up, Doc? Been pretty busy lately, huh?
As a matter of fact, yes. Managing 2 businesses at once isn't easy. I have to juggle my patients at the clinic with the time I have to spend digging at the mine. This trial could have come at a worse time.
I'll get right to the questions then. When you first examined the plaintiff, what was the diagnosis?
She had 3 large compound fractures to her posterior shell, contusions around her eyes and face, a broken leg, and a broken arm. From the way she landed, I would have to say she fell feet first. She lost a lot of yolk though, but very little white.
With 3 breaks in the shell, how were you able to put it back together again?
It wasn't too difficult, really. I'm quite a brilliant surgeon. Besides, all the pieces of her shell were intact. Had there been tiny bits of her shell in her yolk, I don't know if I could have saved her. When we got back to my clinic, I was able to perform reconstructive surgery on her. I did need to give her a yolk transfusion, though. 4 pints full of yolk.
So in your opinion, Hump will survive?
She will be splintered for a while and on a liquid diet, but in a few months, she will be all right.
You've testified that the eggshell was broken in 3 places. I have here a poster of the backside of an egg. You draw exactly where these breaks occurred?
One was here, near the left posterior shoulder, here near the right leg, and here on the right side. As you can see, these were very clean breaks.
The prosecutor claims that this was the weapon used to push Humpty off the wall. Did you see any evidence of a puncture or wounded chip that would match the end of this stick?
No. As you can see, those are very clean breaks. There is no sign of any hole, dent, or even a pucker on her shell.
Your Honor, I'm giving you this poster as evidence to show that the egg could not have been pushed from behind this stick.
Mark this Exhibit B.
I got no further questions. He's all yours.
When you performed the surgery, you indicated yolk transfusions were necessary.
Yes, that's correct.
Was it necessary to type Miss Dumpty's yolk before the transfusions?
Yes, we must have an exact yolk type, or they can suffer from toxic rot, causing it to stink and become rotten.
What was Miss Dumpty's yolk type?
I believe it was type Q, a fairly rare type. Our yolk pick just had a yolk drive. We had enough on hand.
Your Honor, I also had the lab determine the yolk type at the end of this stick. The yolk you see here is also type Q. I maintain that somehow this stick came in contact with the victim as a weapon used against her. I'm finished with the doctor.
Next witness.
I call my cousin Boise Wolf instead.
Raise your right paw. Do you, sir, swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I would be happy to.
State your full name for the record, please.
Percival Smedley Wolf.
Now, Boise, the prosecutor has shown that you have a very shady past. Convictions of burglary, destruction of private property, assuming false identity, stealing goodies from little girls, and mugging a young man named Peter.
Yes, I am ashamed to say.
And did you mercilessly tease Humpty Dumpty as she claims you did?
Yes, all was true. At the time, I took great pleasure in inflicting torment in others less fortunate than I.
Tell us about your childhood.
I was born to very wealthy parents. My father was CEO of one of the largest corporations in La La Land. My mother was daughter of one of the richest tycoons in business. I had everything I always wanted. Toys, clothes, cars, girls, video games, phones, CD players, and plenty of goodies anytime I wanted them. The only thing I lacked was love. My father was always too busy counting his riches. He barely knew I existed. I guess in order to get the attention I craved, I acted out by bullying others like Dorothy and Humpty and his brothers. In high school, I got into a bad crowd. They got me to stealing and vandalism. I'm not trying to excuse my actions. I was responsible for everything. I was convicted and spent 10 years in prison. I paid my debt to society for all of the awful crimes I've committed.
And now, what do you do now?
I am reformed. I finished my education with a degree in business, and I work for one of the largest software companies in La La Land. All I want is a second chance to make good at life. I've even started my own support group for former convicts like me. It's called BA, and it's all voluntary.
B.A.?
Bad Guys Anonymous.
Now, Boise, did you as a prosecutor claim to push Humpty off the wall?
No, I did not.
Then would you describe for us what happened that fateful day as you remember it?
Well, it started out like my usual day. I went to work at 8 a.m. and worked until about 11:45. I usually eat in the employees' cafeteria, but since it was such a sunny day, I decided to eat my lunch in the park.
Which park were you going to?
Just one outside Sherwood Forest. It's only about 10 minutes from my work.
Go on.
Anyway, I decided to take a shortcut through Wall Street. As I approached the pear tree, I saw the goose and the pig nearby, and the king's men practicing their drills a short distance away.
Then what happened?
I had just reached the pear tree when I saw the movement at the wall. Next thing you knew, the pig was flying and Miss Dumpty was all over the sidewalk.
Tell us what happened next.
Well, the pig was out cold and the goose was honking hysterically. I didn't know if they were dead or alive, so I picked up a branch and started poking the egg a bit. You know, tried to get her to move.
Then what happened?
All the goose's honking brought the king's men on the run. I knew if they saw me there, they wouldn't believe that I was innocent, so I dropped the stick and ran.
Is this the stick you used to poke the egg with?
Yes, that's it. I used the end with the dried yolk.
Excuse me, Mr. Wolf, but didn't you realize it was wrong to run away from the scene of an accident?
Yes, but I was scared. If those cops recognized me, they wouldn't believe the thing I said. Once big bad wolf, always big bad wolf. No one likes to give you especially a second chance, especially the cops. Once I was arrested, I called my cousin Betty to represent me.
Judge, I think it's clear that my cousin, who's now reformed, was simply in the wrong place at the wrong time. Your witness?
Now then, Mr. Wolf, what did you have for breakfast this morning?
Bacon and eggs.
What did you have for breakfast yesterday morning?
The same, bacon and eggs.
And the day before that?
I object. She's repeating herself. It's wasting all of our time.
Sustained. Miss Payson, please, get on with it. Answer the question, Mr. Wolf. Let's get this over with. The line of questioning is making me hungry, and it's almost time for lunch.
Bacon and eggs! I've had bacon and eggs every day since I was 2.
Miss Payson, obviously, the wolf likes bacon and eggs. Just what's your point?
That's exactly my point, Judge. Picture this, if you will. Humpty Dumpty and Dorothy Pig were at the wall at approximately 12 noon on the 22nd. Along comes Percy Wolf, who claims to reform after all these years. As he sees the two, he begins to drool. He suddenly gets hunger pains. His mouth begins to water as he pictures his 2 favorite foods, sizzling hot bacon and eggs. So he picks up a stick and runs back to the wall and proceeds to poke and prod at the egg until she falls to the wall, landing on the pig. I submit, Your Honor, that the wolf had opportunity to make a quick omelet, and he took it.
You're wrong! You've got the wrong man! I tell you, I'm innocent! Innocent! Besides, I was on my way to lunch, not breakfast!
Mr. Wolf, it is up to the jury to decide if you are innocent or guilty. You may take your seat. Mr. Padlock, we will resume after a 5-minute recess. Be ready with your next witness.
Ladies and gentlemen, the judges just called a brief recess. We'll be back with this segment of Outside Edition.
Hello, boys and girls, and you little dogs too. I've got the most delightful surprise for you today, straight from my little bistro in the heart of Sherwood Forest. Hazel's home cooking. Just look at this luscious apple, dearies. So big, so red, so shiny. And you know what they say, an apple a day keeps the trolls away. And they're only $150 each. And what do we have here? Oh, cookies! Here we have a cute little gingerbread boy baked in my very own ovens. And here we have his little sister, a scrumptious gingerbread girl. Boy, sis, how are you? Good, that's a bit warm in here today, don't you think? And they're only $150 each. Or you can buy 2 for $300 and you won't save a dime. So come on down to Hazel Home Cooking, where meals last a lifetime.
We're back with the final segment of Outside Edition, where you become the jury on today's Outside Edition.
I called Golden the Goose instead.
Do you? Yes, you, Ninny. It is about time you got to me. I am not used to waiting in line for anything. Your name, ma'am? Why must I repeat what you already know? This is so corny.
Ma'am, we need it for the record.
Oh, very well. My name is Goldie Philomena Goose. Goldie, excuse me. Only my friends call me Goldie. You, sir, may call
me Madame Goose.
Madame Goose, where do you live?
I live at the Giant's Castle on Wall Street.
And exactly what do you do at the Giant's Castle?
Giant employs me to lay his golden eggs, count his gold, keep the books, manage the servants, and run his household. I have quite a lot of responsibility.
And judging from all the jewelry you're wearing, you must get paid an awful lot of money. What, $10, $12 an hour?
Actually, I get paid by the dozen. The more golden eggs I produce, the more money I get.
I see. And are your eggs always made out of gold?
Occasionally I lay a medium-sized grade A silver or bronze. Once in a while, I'll get lucky and have a jumbo platinum. Then, the Giant will give me a sizable bonus. I do produce the highest quality eggs.
I see. And you ever find, say, a dozen so that you have a normal egg?
Yes, of course. But it doesn't happen very often. Only 4 or 5 times in the last 20 years.
And when you find one of these lower quality eggs, what do you do with it?
It depends. Sometimes I feed them to the dogs. Sometimes I just throw them away.
Dumpty says that he was separated from the nest at an early age. He also says that you, Goldie, were his real mother. What do you say to that?
It's true. I remember her quite well. She was definitely the loser of that particular dozen. Since he was of such low grade, she definitely had no business being with the others at the castle.
So did you actually abandon her?
Hardly. I merely gave her to old Mother Goose. Her eggs were all grown and had already flown the coop. She was old and lonely and needed companionship. I knew she would take her in and do what she could. The ungrateful little wretch should be happy. I did fry her and feed her to the Giant for breakfast.
Now, several witnesses have said you were standing at the pear tree at about noon on the 22nd.
Yes, everyone's at precisely noon. I walk by that tree on my way to the bank. On Wednesdays, I make my weekly deposit of the Giant's gold. Then I usually meet the geese from my bridge club for lunch.
Do you remember where you were standing when Humpty hit the ground?
Let's see. I believe I was next to Miss Pig at the time it happened. In fact, some of the yolk splattered all over my new dress. It was an Armani original. I may sue for damages before this is all over.
I got no further questions.
I have only one question for the goose. Madame, do you remember seeing the wolf poke at the egg after she'd fallen to the ground?
Listen, Madame, I was haunting bloody murder because of the mess that egg made on my dress. I didn't notice what he did with any stick.
Your Honor, let the record show that there is no one able to testify that they actually saw the wolf poke at the egg after she'd fallen to the ground.
Let the record show it.
Done with the goose.
Mr. Padlock, was that your last witness?
So 1 second, Judge. I want to talk to the egg again.
Miss Dumpty, may I remind you that you are still under oath?
Yes.
Dumpty, you've told the court that you have known all these years Goldie was your real mother.
Yes.
Must have been very difficult for you, leaving the nest at an early age to live with a poor, lonely old woman.
Yes, it was.
She tried to be a good mother for you, didn't she?
Yes, she was very kind.
But she was also quite poor, isn't that right?
Yes.
You only wore second-hand clothes, never had expensive toys and fancy jewelry, like your brothers and sisters did at the castle.
That's right. They were spoiled rotten. A bunch of rich snobs just because they were born gold.
Did you resent the fact that they could have the riches and status at the castle, and you could not?
Sure. Wouldn't you? All that wealth and attention was just as much my birthright as theirs.
Could you tell me where you were living the year you turned 18?
I can't remember. With Mother Goose, I'm sure.
I have here your file for the Happy Valley Homes for the Unusually Depressed. It says here you were admitted for 1 year under the recommendation of the county psychologist because you were a social outcast suffering from severe depression caused by resentment towards your mother and everything else in life you could not have. Said the episodes of rage frightened old Mother Goose, who tried to do her best.
So what? That was a long, long time ago.
Miss Dumpty, isn't it true that all this time spent on the wall was not for reading and relaxation, but for spying on the Giant's castle?
No.
You weren't watching for your mother as she made her way to the bank every Wednesday at the same time, 12 noon?
No.
You weren't watching her as she crossed the wall, plotting your revenge?
No.
Miss Dumpty, in reality, you were not pushed off the wall by my cousin or anyone else. You jumped. You jumped as Goldie passed underfoot. When you landed on the pig and your plan went wrong, you saw my cousin at the scene and decided to cover your real motive, accusing him of attacking you.
No, no.
Yes, yes.
No, no.
No, no.
Yes, yes. Okay, you win. Yes, I was spying on Goldie to determine her Wednesday routine. Yes, I've tried to flatten her by jumping off the wall. She is a horrible goose. Money is power, and if she hadn't kicked me out of the nest, I would be rich and powerful today. Yes, I wanted my revenge, and I would have it too if it weren't for that pig getting in the way.
I declare this a mistrial. Mr. Wolf, you are free to go. Escort Miss Dumpty to headquarters and take her statement. This court stands adjourned, and let the record show that once again justice has been served.
Ladies and gentlemen, you've just witnessed the courtroom drama in the Rock. In a surprise twist of fate, the defendant's cousin Benny was able to press the egg into an admission and guilt, causing a mistrial. Mr. Wolf is being acquitted and is now free. Meanwhile, Humphrey Dumpty is being escorted downtown for questioning on her assault on Dorothy Craig and her attempt to murder on Goldie Goose. Join us. That concludes another story from Outside Edition. Join us tomorrow when we interview a young woman with the longest hair in the rose and a lion who, after many years of living in fear, finally found his courage in the most unusual way. This is Herwalda Camaro wishing you a pleasant good night.